Ahí estamos. A puntito. A puntito estamos.
¿Se esperan grandes cosas hoy o no mucho?
Se espera que veamos cosas que no vimos en el E3. Se espera quizá un poco más de Hellblade, quizá algo más de Fable, algo más de Perfect Dark, pero claro, quizá. Lo que ha dicho Microsoft es que vamos a ver cosas ya anunciadas, más detalles de cosas ya anunciadas, de juegos suyos y de juegos third party, sobre todo de cositas que llegarán en un futuro cercano, hasta Navidades, por ejemplo. Pero bueno.
Vale.
¿Cómo disfruto estos eventos, Nano? Los gordos.
O sea, mañana entiendo que sí que va a ser más intenso, pero hoy sí intuyo que no va a haber mucha cosa.
Cachamata, estás suscrito grande, dirán mastodonte fiera. Yo sí que te quiero, Cachamatas, cago en la leche.
Esto es el Flight Simulator.
Sí, y esa es Notre Dame sin estar incendiada, ¿no? Qué bonitas. Notre Dame es muy bonita, pero lo que más me gustó a mí personalmente de París fue el Sacré-Cœur. Me pareció espectacular.
Le Sacré-Cœur. Ese es el que tienes que subir hasta arriba, tomas por culo.
Sí, es precioso.
Está bien.
¡Ay! Súbete. ¿Ahí?
Later on, we'll take an extended look at Forza Horizon 5.
There's so much going into this, and the playground's vision of Los subtítulos.
Muy bonito.
Los americanos se hablan un poco de español y se creen políglotas, ¿eh? Es espectacular.
Total.
No he visto. Bueno, en algunos no conozco muchos. Conozco 3 o 4 estadounidenses. Hostia, son. Los idiomas los llevan jodidos.
No parece que vaya a haber. Ojo, Daylight, vale, ok.
Ay, mira.
Interesa.
Estamos especulando sobre si veríamos Elden Ring aquí o lo tendría Mr. Doritos mañana.
No, mañana.
Es que se supone que tiene los derechos de marketing Xbox de Elden Ring, pero ya se adelantó en el Summer Game Fest. Lo dio él y no lo dio Microsoft, lo de Elden Ring, ¿te acuerdas?
Sí, pero no creo que veamos Elden Ring aquí, ¿no?
Está muy alto ahí. A ver ahí. Sí. A ver si sacan algo decente, dice Niuhito, no sé.
O sea, creo que estamos esperando una conferencia de ver cosas, de anuncios, y no es una conferencia de anuncios, ¿eh?
¿Es una conferencia de catálogo?
Yo tengo entendido que sí, tú sabrás mejor que yo, vaya.
A ver,
pero yo no tengo entendido que esto sea una conferencia de asuntos.
El único rumor que he escuchado que podría ser quizá algo sorpresivo es que veríamos gameplay del Abowel. El Abowel, ¿te acuerdas? El juego de...
No.
Hay un juego de Obsidian que se mostró el año pasado.
Ah, sí, que vimos al tío saltando con la espada y ya está.
Ese. Sin embargo, otro que vimos que se anunció el mismo día, que es el de Everwill, era el de Rare, de los druidas estos yendo por el bosque. Sí. Lo último que se rumorea es que se reinició el desarrollo y que se va a 2024. Así que no lo veríamos, claro. No lo sé. Estos de Dying Light 2 van a ser capaces de entregar todo lo que prometieron, porque si lo entregan, hostia.
A ver, cada vez tiene mejor pinta, ¿eh?
¿Verdad?
Pero no sé si va a estar tan guapo como dicen. Me parece muy tocho el Dying Light 2, ¿eh?
A mí es que también.
Buah. Bueno. Será fácil de... Será...
El parkour.
Disfrutón el juego.
El parkour, seguramente.
Sí.
Si no, si es la base del gameplay. Pues Mirror Edge lo hizo disfrutable, por estos tíos, ¿por qué no? El 1 está muy guay.
Ya, pero... Lo hizo disfrutable, pero...
Tiene buena pinta ese. ¿Queréis que suba un poco más el volumen, gente? O así está bien. ¿Lo escucháis de fondo bien? ¡Lol!
¿What?
Hostia.
Yo que pienso que el sistema de combate va a ser una mierda. No me creo que te muevas como un action RPG en una cámara en primera persona. No me lo creo. No me lo creo.
Did you notice those bandits in medieval-like armor passing by skyscrapers, banks, and large billboards? That's what we call a modern Dark Ages.
And it's a very unique design, one very important for the plot of Dying Light 2. But there's another thing that stood out to me, all those parkour moves that you and your team has put so much effort into.
Well, all you need is a few thousand of
¿Tienes ventilador
animations,
puesto?
cooperation with professional traces,
No, estoy en la
valuable help
terraza.
from David Bell,
Es
whose
que se
face
oye
and
un
moves player will see in the
de
game, by the
fondo.
way.
Será el
muteo,
aire.
muteo.
Right, and
No,
we
será el aire,
got
será el
twice
aire.
the number of parkour moves compared to the first game, and we are showing some of them in this trailer. The vault kicks being the most important to me personally. It brings a whole new fighting style into the game. The player can stagger an enemy and use them to perform further attacks, for example by rebounding from their bodies, jumping off them onto other foes, and so on.
I think we captured the movement really well and made it quite simple for the players to perform. I can't wait for them to try it out and tell for themselves how much they
Mira,
like it.
pues si
It's
lo han hecho
definitely
bien.
going to be useful. The city's buildings are higher
¿Cuándo
than
salía este
anything we
juego?
have done before, improving
A
its
finales de año,
verticality.
no me acuerdo. ¿Tiene
Players
fecha?
will need to find a way
¿Sale este
to
año?
reach those tall
A ver.
skyscrapers and other challenging spots too.
Then it's good we scattered some helpers
7 de
around,
diciembre.
like a paraglider, which can support players in both parkouring and combat.
Exactly, and it's gonna do great, especially in fights against humans, which are more frequent and important.
Ese
than
salto
in
es
Dying
todo lo
Light
contrario
1.
en la vida real.
It's
Claro
been
que sí.
over 20 years since the events from the first game, so people adjusted. They are much bolder now, at least during the day.
And they are more vicious too.
And I think that's a great summary of this discussion. Pre-order Dying Light 2 and explore its vast, complex world on December 7th. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Qué currado, el escenario ahí para la entrevista.
Vale, me vale. O sea, ya me lo iba a pillar, pero vale.
For the first time in the storied history of the franchise, Microsoft Flight Simulator launched on a home console with the
Increíble.
release on Xbox Series X and S
Increíble.
last month. Reviewers and gamers alike
Vamos
were
a
blown away
penetrar
by how well
en
the
la
stunning visuals and the
ficción.
depth of the simulation translated to the console, and that's why I'm extremely honored to welcome the head of Microsoft Flight Simulator, York Newman, to the stream. York, thank you for being here. The last time we met was at the Xbox Game Showcase,
Meten el
and it's
F-18
getting ready to come out on
de Top Gun, lo
console. How did
meten
that
en
go?
septiembre, en octubre,
great.
creo que es.
As you said, the
El Flight
reaction to the
Simulator.
Xbox console launch was really just amazing. Both from
Yo es
Xbox
que
gamers and
no,
from the press, they've been
nunca he
so
sido
gracious with their
de
feedback.
o sea, me
I don't know
encantan
if you
los
know, but
simuladores de
the,
vuelo,
Flight Simulator
pero
is
nunca he
one
sido de
of
Flight
the
Simulator.
highest
El
rated
vuelo
games on
comercial me
Xbox
ayuda un
this year,
poquito.
which I think is just great validation.
Está muy chulo,
that the
pero
that the translation of the
te
simulation
tiene que
to the
gustar
console
mucho.
is really
A mí me
worked
gusta,
well.
pues,
Our
el
usage numbers are through the roof.
F2000, el F-15 de
We are
James, el Falcon
absolutely shattering
4.0,
franchise
todos
records, and I
aquellos.
can tell you, there have never
los
been
disfruté
more people
muchísimo.
playing Flight Simulator than right
Me
now.
gusta el
So it's
combate, el
an awesome
Apache,
time.
Apache Lowbow.
That is awesome. Congratulations
Lobo
on the
2.
launch, really. But
Bueno, míralo, ahora va a decir lo de Top Gun, ¿no?
I want to go to the danger zone.
Danger Zone, tanan, tanan,
There's so much going on here.
tanan,
So you and I talked about
tanan,
Top Gun Maverick
tanan,
earlier.
tanan.
The fans are super excited. They saw the F-18. They can't wait to start flying.
Demasiado
And, it comes
predecible
out later
y
this year as
Calla.
free DLC
Top
alongside the movie.
Gun, calla.
But as the movie is still under wraps, so are we, so I can still not tell you that much about it. But there's so much else going on even before Maverick. So we are continuing to do our monthly big releases that we've been doing for a long time. And next month, on September 7th, we are launching World Update 6. And this world update, I mean, at the beginning of the show, if you remember, there was a little red plane flying into Cologne. Well, we did that because World Update 6 updates that region, the region of Gamescom. So Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And what that means to us is we have new aerial and satellite images. We have a new elevation map that helps us with the mountains. So the Alps actually look awesome now. We have new 3D cities like Frankfurt and Wuppertal in Germany. We have Basel in Switzerland. We have Vienna and Graz.
¿Cuánto dura esta conferencia?
90 minutos.
And those cities look just amazing. They have like 7 centimeters resolution, and it's,
o sea, el vuelo así comercial está guay, pero dispararle un misil a la catedral de Colón, eso es impagable, hombre.
And we call those POIs, and we sort of spread
Qué bonito,
¿Qué
el juego es muy bonito, pero a mí no me interesa. Es como, wow, estoy volando un avión. Gracias.
Si no te gusta, no te gusta.
And what it ties it all together is missions. We're having new discovery flights, we have new landing challenges, and we have new...
Imagina que sacan algo de Fallout, dice Mike Parker. Es que el problema es que Bethesda va a hacer conferencia y la hace el jueves. Entonces no veremos cosas de Bethesda aquí.
Bethesda va a hacer conferencia.
Sí, el jueves.
¿Really? ¿A qué hora?
Por la tarde.
That is really incredible, all the different
no sé la hora.
¿Pero van a anunciar algo o qué?
No lo sé, pero va a hacer conferencia.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, but you know, for us, it's actually not just the region and the visuals.
Algo me dice que va a ser un truño.
We talked a lot when you study aviation, when you love aviation, like
un misil a Geoff, ¿ves? Esto también está guay.
You actually realize that a lot of regions of Earth have a very special relationship with flying, with aviation. Sometimes it's, you know, the first experiments with aircraft, or a famous pilot, or a feat of aviation.
Prefiero volar en Los Santos, la verdad. Yo prefiero volar en Vice City con el avión que no tiene alas. No sé si habéis jugado mucho a Vice City. Pero hay un avión y no tiene alas. Son muy cortas.
And think about that as planes that are locally well known.
Pero también tiene una Apache, así que una cosa por la otra.
Not so much. But why not use the World Updates to highlight this, to bring these awesome machines to a worldwide audience? So for World Update 6, we picked a German plane from the 1930s. It's called Junkers U-52. In Germany, it's lovingly named Tante U, so Aunt U. And we think of us as sort of a digital preservation. So we really want to get these planes to an extreme level of detail. We're going out of our way to really go.
¿A cuánto del público que ve estas cosas dice, sí, cuéntame más de los aviones? Un avión Jurke 512 me interesa. ¿A cuántos? O sea, tanto vende el Flight Simulator como para que me enseñe las entrañas del avión y yo diga, hostia, ahora sí lo juego, tío. Si vas a tener este avión sí que me interesa.
Pues no lo sé.
Then we work with an organization that is preserving one of the last.
No lo sé. Abrir con esto es un poco. Bueno, abrir. Teoría me abierto con Dying Light.
And then we were lucky that to find a pilot that actually flew one of those planes while it was still flying in the real world. And he lets us know, like, is the cockpit right?
Mira, dice la gente que vende bastante, que da miedo. Dice
so we're having a blast working with these experts to really bring these, to celebrate this plane, to bring them back to life.
So this is almost like you're creating like a digital museum for aviation inside Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically that. Yeah. It's a museum with flyable planes. Yeah. So we're working with 40
estoy viendo 2 millones de ventas.
Bueno, está bien. It's honestly one of the funnest parts of the job. You end up working with these curators of planes. These are their babies, and they sort of see the tooth of time in the real world sort of nagging on their remaining planes, and they're so happy when we come in with our scanning equipment, and we're basically capturing their planes, and they know that we can digitally preserve them in perpetuity, and we're actually giving those.
Es un proyecto de altos vuelos, dice Mike Parker.
And it's a great collaboration. And we're actually not just looking back in the history of aviation, we're also looking towards the future. So I have another announcement. We are working with a fascinating German company called Volocopter.
Yeah.
And they're making an eVTOL air taxi for urban traffic. So they have a vision of the future, how these drone-type machines basically connect people in large
¿Esto triunfará? ¿El futuro será tener un trasto de esto, Juste, o qué?
Sure that we are capturing their plane, their aircraft perfectly in the.
¿Tú sabes el tiempo que ahorraríamos?
Coming out in November.
I mean, you weren't kidding when you're saying that there's
Lo que pasa es que los accidentes serían un 100% mortales, pero.
Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, there's one more thing.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to announce that we've partnered with RARA. That's the Reno Air Racing Association, and every year they put on something called the Steel National Championship Air Race, And we're bringing this to Flight Simulator. So this is the fastest motorsport. This is right down your alley. It's the fastest motorsport on Earth. And I actually brought you a little trailer to look at.
So
ponos un trailer.
Speed. We go into the danger zone, baby. Let's go ahead and show that.
This is the need of speed. Ta-na-na-na-na. Si la gente no sabe cómo funciona una rotonda como para obtener todos en un tron gigante. Uy, este cartelito lo vamos a ver muchas veces, ¿verdad? ¿Y usted?
You know I like going fast, and you know I love being in the danger zone. When is this coming out?
Man, these planes, they fly 500 miles, faster than 500 miles an hour, 50 to 250 feet above the ground. So you are definitely going to be in the danger zone. I mean, without going into too much detail, this Reno Air Race is actually the largest expansion we have since we launched on Flight Simulator. It's not just because we scanned all the famous race planes of the world. There's lots of them. This is also the first time when you can basically race against your friends and pilots across the planet. And so a competitive multiplayer is coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that will definitely test your pilot skills. And you ask,
modo competitivo.
This is coming out this fall.
Este avión está roto.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Me ganas por el muñeco. Me ganas por el avión.
Speed, so I can't wait to get my hands on this.
Soy Chuyenger en el Flight Simulator.
Awesome, man. We got you covered.
All right, thank you. If going fast on the ground is more your speed, keep an eye out for an extended look at Forza Horizon 5 later on in the stream.
Otro graficazos del Forza.
Game director about the game's next big DLC. But first,
qué graficazos el Forza,
Game Pass subscriber, we have some great news for you.
A ver, Game Pass.
Oh, bueno, indies.
Indies en el Game Pass. Estamos hablando esta tarde, Juste, de que podría ser un bombazo que hoy anunciara Microsoft que el Battlefield 2042 gratis día 1 Game Pass. ¿Te imaginas?
Me imagino, lo veo bastante probable.
Yo no lo veo probable. Por eso sería un bombazo.
A ver, es un bombazo, pero es que lo que más le interesa a un juego como Battlefield es que le llegue a la mayor cantidad de gente posible y que la gente se compre skins, el pase de batalla y todo eso, ¿sabes?
Hostia, esa parte no lo había considerado.
O sea, en teoría quieren convertir Battlefield 2042 en un juego como servicio, no en un juego que se acabe en 2 años, ¿no?
Sí.
Pues necesitas que dure.
Y este es el Signalis, ¿te acuerdas que lo vimos en la Tribeca? El Signalis.
Yes.
Qué buena pinta, ¿eh? Pues día 1 Game Pass.
A ver, a mí el problema es que me ponen 70 veces estos vídeos durante 5 segundos y no me entero de nada, ¿sabes? Ese es el tema.
Pues por eso luego hay que ver al día siguiente Full HP, donde viene todo resumidito y mascadito.
Tómalo, la promoción.
¡Suscribirse! No me puedo creer que no haya nadie. Ya hemos sacado un par de trenes del hype en Full HP así, ¿eh? Con el cuentitruco.
Claro, es que el cuentitruco es cuentitruco por algo.
They added even more games to Game Pass. But let's talk about what's coming up. We're talking Age of Empires 4 with the game's creative director, and we're going to see what's next for Sea of Thieves.
Somehow they did it. La forma de la que they did it. Dinero.
That in grand retro fashion sends you plundering through shifting dungeons to defeat a mysterious eldritch terror. Let's dive into the pit.
¿Cómo? ¿Qué juego es este?
A ver. Este es el Abandoned. Me ha recordado al Exen. Me sigue recordando al Exen. Lo que pasa es que se ve que es todo magia, toda distancia. Qué feo, Micael, eso no se hace. ¿El qué, Ticán? Lo del abandoner. Es lo que no te ha gustado. 19.
No sé si me interesa este videojuego, la verdad.
Es para Kinect.
Joder,
va a ser todo así, van a ser charlas de 90 minutos.
Ah, mira. Te lo he dicho.
Yeah, I have. So, so far we've been showing everyone kind of.
Hoy han enseñado dos vídeos del Age of Empires 4.
You've gotten to see a lot of footage
de 30 segundos, ¿vale?
We've also shown a little bit of our campaigns, right? Through when we unveiled the 100 Years War and showed Joan of Arc. But we have yet another way in Age of Empires 4 that we're kind of bringing history to life that we haven't talked about yet.
See, you do this to me. You put me in suspense. I want to know more, so let's go with it.
Well,
let's hear more.
Okay, wait, you get one moment of suspense. Okay, that's enough. So what we brought today is we have these wonderful little videos that we've created that are interspersed amongst the campaign, and they're about 3 to 5 minutes each. And we have over an hour of them total, and they're called Hands-on Histories. And what they are is a great way to like deep dive on certain fun subjects from the cultures we're representing and just from medieval history.
¿Te has fijado que tienen como los peinados inversos? Esta tiene pelo arriba y no tiene pelo en los laterales y él al revés.
¿Estás siendo racista de pelo?
No, estoy siendo unionista. Se complementarían en el peinado perfecto.
A counterweight trebuchet was the king of all siege engines. A catapult capable of
Odio que me enseñen vídeos de juegos que ya me voy a comprar. No me enseñéis más vídeos de juegos que ya me voy a comprar.
Joder, pero hay gente que todavía está dudando, hombre.
¿Quién está dudando a estas alturas de comprarse el Dying Light 2 o el Age of Empires? ¿Quién?
Pues puede haber gente.
Originating in 7th century China, by the 13th century, trebuchets had evolved into devastatingly powerful weapons.
Such a simple design, but so effective.
It has several key features. A pivoted arm with a weight at one end.
¿En serio nos hemos metido en un vídeo de YouTube de cómo funcionan los trebuchets?
To prime, the 6-ton weight
los lanzapiedras, los trabuquetes.
Claro que quieres.
¡Van a lanzar a la tía! Eso sí que sería la hostia.
A counterweight weighing 6 tons. It's based on muscle power alone.
A ver, el problema es el aterrizaje. Mira, es un hámster.
As far as possible is making sure that this end of the arm is moving as fast as possible. So once that weight drops, it really sends this point of the arm moving at its highest velocity.
This was done by
¿Me estáis diciendo cómo funciona esto?
Que sí, joder.
Y que posiblemente no tiene ningún tipo de repercusión en el gameplay.
Exacto. Más que nada porque lo montas en 4 segundos normalmente. Vas con el trebuchet, se mueve, aprietas un botón y a los 4 segundos está montado.
In order to weaken the castle walls or even breach them, you had to make sure that the projectiles hit the same spot every single time.
For each projectile to follow the same trajectory, they all had to be the same weight and shape. To achieve this, masons used a gauge.
Pues ahí ha cortado demasiado,
into the sling. This one must weigh about 25 kilograms, but some projectiles can get up to 150 kilograms. That's the weight of 2 men.
Trebuchets were also
el peso de 2 hombres en su opinión, te voy diciendo.
Beehives, even dead bodies. Anything to cause maximum distress to the enemy.
Did you hear that whoosh?
It was the counterweight trebuchet's lethal combination of power and accuracy that made it the ultimate medieval siege weapon.
Eran precisos, porque en el Age of Empires no duró mucho.
Llega lejos,
Llegar lejos sí que llega.
Pero es espectacular lo poco que me importa.
Remarkably unique, something you don't see in games very often.
Yeah, so
Por algo será que no vemos estas cosas normalmente.
What we're going to do with Age of Empires 4, there's a phrase I'm really fond of, which is history is only as interesting as the people who taught it to you. And you could say that about any subject, really, right? But I think the great thing is when you have someone that's so enthusiastic and passionate about history, it really comes across. And we wanted to be that kind of teacher for history. And there's a phrase called humanized history that I use to kind of describe what we tried to do, which is we tried to like connect past and present. And you can see that kind of in our briefings as well, where we've got like real stuff with like CG kind of overlaid to show you the history. And so for these, we really wanted to do that same thing. So ourselves and Relic partnered with this amazing group in the UK called Lion TV, and they've done production on an amazing amount of shows and documentaries for the BBC and won every award you can imagine for media. And they travel to all of these locations in all these different countries to meet with these subject matter experts and get all of this great footage on how things really worked and how things were made. And it's been delightful to kind of go through that process and, get all these and finally start showing them to everyone.
I love it. Now, you also, of course, you've got a bunch, as you mentioned, of these hands-on history segments. Anything else that you can tell us fans about what we can expect, looking forward to? Any favorites you got coming up?
Oh, well, favorites. Oh, man. Well, I think my personal favorite is one called Medieval Surgery. Okay. And I'm going to let your imagination go with what we might show and what we might talk about in that one.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about them is that they go all over the place. So, we've got ones on warfare and castle building and like how they kept flaming arrows from not going out when she shot them. And but we've also got all of these ones on, like illuminated history and falconing and, like horse taming, armor creation. And there's even one on Mongolian instrumentation.
¿Sabes quién hacía también mucho eso de documentales y grabar cositas y tal? Cyberpunk, no.
For the Mongols when you're playing
ya ves,
in the campaign.
O sea, yo cada vez que le ponen esta cantidad de paja a las cosas es como, bro, no me cuentes tu vida.
You guys, Age of Empires, always known for bringing history alive in a completely different way. And I also love to mention this to people that you and the team do so much research. And it's so great to see this approach being used in a hands-on history kind of segment. But, I mean, what was that approach like to sort of, sell going forward, especially since it's such a unique in-game experience?
Well, the cool thing was it was there from day one. It was one of the things I was really wanted to do is try to tell these stories in a different way. But I'll tell you, like full disclosure, it's been insanely nerve-wracking because we're trying something completely different that no one's ever done before in a game, right? We're history, but we're a game, but we're teaching you things, but you're having fun. And finding that middle ground has been really challenging. And every time we've shown the campaigns or we've shown these hands-on histories, I've been like, oh God, it's gonna work? Like, people are going to like this? And the great thing is so far, everyone that's really experienced the entire thing put together have just been like, wow, this is great. And it's so different and kind of cool and refreshing. So,
sí, Pablo, vaya chapa.
So far, so good, right? But yeah, it's been a journey, to get all this done and put the whole game together.
Well, I love that you mentioned Journey because we are coming towards the end of this
Nadie que juegue este videojuego va a decir, wow, ¿cuánto se parece a tirar un arco de verdad de la Edad Media? Nadie.
I know they're all chomping at the bit.
Oh, well,
Coño, el profe Eisen, muchas gracias por la raid.
We are launching the game. You can go to ageofempires.com to learn more about the title. And if you're really, really excited, right now, you can go onto the Microsoft Store or Steam, pre-order the game right now. And of course,
a ver, si tuviera que reservarlo por lo que acaba de pasar los últimos 10 minutos, te juro que no lo reservo.
But
yes, I believe you are a part of something very special.
Yes, so Gamescom opening night live.
Yes.
11 a.m. Pacific time. There might be something Age of Empires related in there, so if you're a fan.
¿Y por qué no lo dais ahora?
A bit of a tease from Mr. Ice Green.
No me jodas, es lo que me faltaba.
Adam, thank you so much for joining us here.
Always a pleasure, Kate.
Always a pleasure.
Me pones en el evento de Xbox lo de los trabuquetes nano y me dices, veréis cosas mañana en la conferencia de la Gamescom con Mr. Doritos. Anda, vete a tomar por culo.
Forza Horizon 5 with our friends at Playground Games, but now let's catch up with Paris, who's gone from flying the skies in Microsoft Flight Sim to a different kind of cloud.
That's right, Kate. Xbox Cloud Gaming is already available on Windows PCs, mobile phones, and tablets. And now, it's coming to Xbox consoles. The future with cloud gaming sounds bright. No waiting to install, no running out of hard drive space, no waiting to patch, and no buying a new console just to play with your friends. See how the vision of cloud gaming will bring people together without barriers.
So when I think about cloud and
Ay, no, por favor.
those two things together to me really show
Ay, mira,
you
esto es lo que le
the
gusta a
future where you
Juste.
can pick up something and
Lo
you
de
can
soy
play
mejor
it
persona
anywhere
gracias
and
al
you can do it
xCloud.
quickly.
Me iba a morir, pero gracias al xCloud quiero ayudar a niños pobres. Gracias, xCloud.
Cloud gaming is phenomenal. That's pretty great. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
This actually looks so
Iba a pagar a mis trabajadores, a mis camareros 400 euros al mes por 12 horas al día, pero no. Gracias a xCloud les voy a pagar una jornada normal y les voy a dar de alta en la seguridad social.
It's super exciting that for our Game Pass Ultimate members, they will get to experience Xbox Cloud Gaming on whatever console they have.
Cloud gaming is really about looking at how people play differently. I know me.
Y ahora gente totalmente pagada nos va a hablar de lo alucinante y reveladora que es nuestra nueva aplicación.
We're targeting 1080p at 60 frames per second.
What's crazy about this is like the latency. This is the kind of stuff you need with cloud gaming.
Oh, 60 frames? That's actually very smooth.
The process itself to get into cloud gaming feels like you're playing on console, right? You go, you find the game you want, you press play.
It's so easy nowadays. You can pick up any device and pretty much play any Xbox game on Game Pass.
If my friends have titles that I don't have yet, I can just wait for them to send me an invite.
Esta gente que está pagada para decir mensajes publicitarios y en nuestro chat Elioxi. ¡La latencia es una mierda! Me creo más lo que dice Elioxi, la verdad. Que no tiene por qué ser el caso de todo el mundo, pero ahí está.
Yeah, Gen 8 consoles can play Gen 9 content. Isn't that so cool?
With cloud gaming, we have the ability, because you are connecting to consoles that are in our data centers, to allow the Gen 8 customers, the Xbox One customers, to play games that their hardware wouldn't play without it.
There's so much opportunity when it comes to thinking about how we can make content more readily available and let people play where they want to. Sign me up.
Otro dato irrelevante para añadir a esta conferencia relevante.
August 9th saw the release of the free optimized update for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice on the Xbox Series S and X. With beautiful and rich visuals, thanks to the addition of ray tracing and improved materials alongside performance updates, this is the perfect opportunity to relive Senua's journey or experience it for the first time. And if you haven't played this, do yourself a favor, grab a pair of headphones and immerse yourself into this world.
Agreed. Speaking of unique experiences on Game Pass, the Xbox Plays team will be taking a look at some ID at Xbox titles over the next few days, including 12 Minutes and The Big Con.
They're also talking with developers from Halo, the Master Chief Collection, Forza Horizon 5, and Destiny 2. So join the live Q&A to get your burning questions answered. You can catch all of those streams on twitch.tv/Xbox.
Speaking of Forza Horizon 5, don't forget our friends at Playground Games will give us an extended look at their monument to motoring in Mexico later on.
That includes never-before-seen areas of the game map, plus cars that have never been in the Forza franchise before. I've loved everything I've seen in Forza Horizon 5 so far, and
Forza Horizon?
Wait. Now, Kate, there's more games to check out, right?
Well, right you are, Paris.
Va a haber un Fiat Panda ahora en el
Va a haber
en el Forza.
Un Seat de estos. La furgoneta esa que tenía Seat. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Seat Trans? ¿Se llamaba? ¿La de los repartidores?
Deep within Cheyenne Mountain weave change.
¿Hay Dacia en Forza Horizon? No jodas.
Mutations you see before you. Set on a righteous path. The holy detonation's life-giving glow should be shared with everyone. May the light of the holy detonation purify you. Join us, Rangers.
LOL. Mira, hijote. Echa cartelico de estos.
With new patches, bug fixes, and added features, like a fine wine, Wasteland 3 just gets better with age. To really savor the game's bouquet, we're talking with inXile game director David Rogers. David, thank you for joining us.
I'm super stoked to be here, thanks.
So in the trailer, we saw that the DLC is coming out on October 5th.
Odio las charlas con desarrolladores. Me quiero pegar un tiro. Dime que va a ser una charla sobre desarrolladores. No me digas que va a ser una conferencia de Xbox, por favor.
Con lo bien que lo hicieron en el E3, ¿eh? ¿Por qué hacen esto ahora? Quiero decir, Xbox sabe hacer buenas conferencias. La del E3 fue la caña. Pam, 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 juego, Game Pass. ¿Por qué hacen esto? Esto es una decisión, no es que no sepan, han demostrado que saben. ¿Por qué si alguien decide que hacer esto es una buena idea?
DLC is called The Cult of the Holy Detonation. Now, talk about that a little bit. Tell me what's going to go into this DLC. What should we be excited about?
Right, so you've heard of Cheyenne Mountain, right?
Yes.
For those who haven't, Cheyenne Mountain is this top secret military complex buried deep in the heart of Cheyenne Mountain in the middle of Colorado. It's designed to outlast a nuclear winter. And so when you hit level 16, an old friend calls you and says, hey, I need your help securing this secret military base and all the secrets within. And as soon as you get there, you find two warring cults battling over supremacy, trying to take control of the Holy Detonation, which is this pre-war science experiment that they worship as a god. And, these cultists are insane, they're mutated, they've gone totally mad, and all they want to do is
share
share
lo que hace. Es agosto, que sabe hacer las conferencias, estará bien de vacaciones.
How generous.
That sounds a lot cooler than some of the cults I may have joined in the past, but this is typical Wasteland fashion. We're really going to be able to get in there and mix it up, right?
Quieren cargarse la Gamescom desde dentro.
Right smack dab in the middle
Como te ganen la conferencia de mañana de Mr. Doritos de Xbox,
game, so you decide everything. Choice and
que poquito tiene que hacer para
so you decide
ganarte.
who lives, who dies, who gets screwed over, who takes charge. You're
Entendiendo ganar como no ser un tedio.
The Holy Detonation, Cheyenne Mountain, and ultimately all of Colorado. This is really your game to craft and mold.
That's awesome. So the last expansion was the Battle of Steeltown, right? You had giant robots and things like that. So, what are you going to do to actually top something like that from the last expansion?
Right. So we wanted returning players to find something that they could never find in another version or in previous versions of Wasteland 3. And so we built this as a Wasteland-style dungeon crawl. And in there you find this awesome mix of mystery, exploration. You're meeting these crazy cultists who have been locked in this pre-war time capsule, and some of the raddest boss battles we have ever been able to build in a Wasteland game.
That's awesome. I want to get back to the crazy cultists, but talk to me about these big boss battles. I want to hear more about that.
Right. So we took the best parts of Wasteland combat and we breathed new life into it with objective-based combat, which are basically super rad boss battles. It's no longer you're huddling in a corner, throwing down turrets, just going on murderous rampages. It's not about killing, it's about getting the job done. And so now, combat doesn't end until the mission is over. We send you on proper combat missions.
El pavo se le ve disfrutar
breaking into prisons, rescuing
tanto hablar de su propio juego como inversamente proporcional a lo que a mí me divierte verlo, la verdad.
Coordinating like you never have had to before. Like everyone on your team has a job, and I really think this is going to take old players who know their Ranger team like the back of their hands, and it's going to make them scratch their head and really have to rethink how they go about combat and making it new, exciting, and challenging mentally in a way we haven't been able to really do before with just straight up murder combat.
Now, Wasteland has a reputation for getting a little silly.
Right.
What are some of the weird characters we can expect in some of the story encounters we'll see in the game?
Yeah, with Cult of the Holy Detonation, we really got to cut our devs loose and just let them be creative and fun and silly. Like nXile's modus operandi is if we're brainstorming and something makes us laugh, we just put it in the game. That's just how we do it, and we pick up the pieces afterwards. Because we want to make something that entertains us, and then we know if we're having fun, our fans are going to have fun along with us.
¿Por qué en los juegos las cajas que te encuentras siempre tienen 1000 huecos y solo te vienen 3 cosas?
and let you interact with them and talk with them.
Está el cofre vacío solo con 2 o 3 cositas.
And so, like, for instance, one of the characters
Me parece una discusión más entretenida que lo que estamos viendo.
He's got like claws and fangs and spikes jutting out, and he's drooling, but he's like the nicest guy in Cheyenne Mountain. Like, you meet him and he's like, hey guys, you should like come in here and like soak up some of these rats, it'll be great. And he Sherpas you in and lets you meet the whole cult. And another one of my favorites is the Pro.
Micael juega el tupo en hospital, nos renta mucho más que esta chapa. Estoy preparando la guía del personal de Tupo en Hospital con el poco tiempo que saco. A ver si la saco pronto. No se puede pasar rápido, no. Es en directo. No puedo, si no, madre mía, haría ras. Dejo esto con el volumen bajado y me voy al LOL. Bien hecho, Ana.
Hell, even some of the
Ana
weapons
Molly,
that you find
bien
in
hecho.
Cheyenne Mountain, they're devolved cultists. Like, there's one guy and he kind of devolved into this like vomiting bagpipe creature, and he has this real like kill me vibe about him. But we get to play with these fun body horror themes that let us jackknife.
Cuando ha dicho kill me,
sort of
I really felt
dark and
that.
serious and like goofy and funny, which is a line that Wasteland really loves to ride. Like,
Es un maldito DLC, por el amor de Dios, dice este Micaelo.
A ver qué dice Alejandro.
Now, we talked before, you've been working on Wasteland 3 for a while. There's already expansions that are out there. But say I'm a new player. Say I'm watching this right now and I'm like, man, I want to get into Wasteland 3. What would you suggest for new players wanting to get into this?
And like I said at the top, like Wasteland is like the best version of itself right now because of all the work we put into it over the past year. And so you can get the whole thing with the Colorado collection. That's the base game plus Cult of the Holy Detonation and Battle of Steeltown, all for a discount. Or if you have Game Pass, you already have Wasteland 3. Just download it and play it. And then you can get both expansions with the expansion pass.
That is awesome. Now, to kind of recap this a little bit, we've talked about, you know, spewing pus bags and these weird characters and the cults and the boss battles and all these really cool things that are going to be in Wasteland 3. But please
anunciando que arreglan bugs. Hemos arreglado, han metido contenido, han arreglado bugs. Yo me lo callaría. Sobre todo porque creo que Wasteland 3 salió con varios bugs jodidos.
Cult of the Holy
Detonation coming October 5th. David, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Bearish. Appreciate it.
All right.
¡Hala!
In the 3 years since its launch, Sea of Thieves has
Un regalo, Sea of
some
Thieves.
incredible
Faltaría más.
crossovers, including unique ship sets inspired by games like Battletoads, State of Decay, Halo, and more. Today, we're excited to announce a brand new special event that will award players an all-new ship as a part of the latest wild crossover heading to Sea of Thieves. Better yet, this event begins tomorrow. So get ready to make some mayhem and let's get
Evento
our
de
first
Sea of
look
Thieves que
at
comienza
this
mañana.
very special ship.
LOL, el de Borderlands. What the fuck? ¿Qué cojones?
Guten Tag,
Ya está.
everyone. Really cool to be a part of this all-digital Gamescom event. And we were thinking, what's the best way to kind of celebrate
Barco
Gamescom
español,
and
sí,
to be
¿verdad?
a part of this as
Alguno se
Sea
lo
of Thieves.
comprará.
And so we're really excited to
Por
reveal
sus
that we're
sueños
bringing
húmedos.
the Mayhem ship set that you've just seen, a really, really cool ship that's inspired by Borderlands.
El barco
into
con
Sea
el
of
oro de la
Thieves.
TAM.
And we're giving all of our players a chance to earn it during kind of the Gamescom time period. So it's been really cool to work with the Borderlands team to bring this ship to life, and giving all of our players the chance to earn it as part of this live event that we've cunningly titled Mayhem. You might notice the link. So you can probably guess the kind of activities that are involved, but if you head to Larina at any of the outposts in the Sea of Thieves world, she'll be able to fill you in on the details of what you need to go do to earn the ship set. So we hope everybody gets a chance to take part in this awesome time-limited event. So it starts today, and it runs through to September the 7th. So that's the time period you've got to get your hands on the Mayhem ship set. And I think that's it from me. So as always, I will see you on the seas.
Hasta luego.
always been a dangerous world in Trumbull Valley.
¿Lol?
But now, it's hope that brings us back together. It reunites old friends.
Te veo ilusionado y esto es el estilo de Kai.
¿Sí? ¿Este es el estilo de Kai? Madre mía.
Yo creo que sí.
Sí. Lo más emocionante que llevamos en la conferencia es el estilo de Kai 3. Es el 2, es el 2, el 2. Ok.
Welcome back to Trumbull Valley.
Pues muy bien. Por favor, no charla no, ¿eh? No me pongáis una charla con esta gente ahora, ¿eh? Me cago en mi puta calavera.
And we have a guest to walk us through this Undead update. Please join me in welcoming Undead Labs Director of Communications, Wanda Russell. Hello.
Bastante puta mierda.
Hello, I'm great. It's great to be here. Talk about the Homecoming update releasing on September 1st. We are very excited to get this into players' hands.
Lo he gafado yo. Es responsabilidad mía esta puta mierda.
We are coming back to Trumbull Valley. We were there for Heartland, the update back in 2019. Talk to me about the differences, and I'll sit right here and listen because you're adorable.
So Heartland
¿Te ha tocado una skin nueva en un cofre, Ana?
game, but it's a very linear, narrative-driven experience.
Casa de un top. Ah, lol. Te ha tocado una skin de Casa de un.
Trumbull Valley map. It is the fifth.
Buena suerte contra los Lucian Mid, ¿eh? Te lo vas a pasar de puta
And
madre.
it expands into 2 territories that were completely inaccessible in Heartland. So players can return to Trumbull Valley with their communities.
First piqueo y voy con Ignite y TP. Muy bien.
Start exploring everything.
Luego no te quejes del campeo.
So then, would Homecoming be a sequel then to Heartland?
Yeah, exactly right. So the events in Heartland kind of play out. You see what happens in Trumbull Valley. So we think of it as the third part of our Trumbull saga that began with the original State of Decay game, continued into Heartland.
Bueno, señor, dejo muteadito y mañana me entero todo en Full HP. Me piro en la isla de Iki. Venga, Chris Snake.
Storylines might be coming to a close. So there is a lot for players to discover.
Ando guiado y te extrañará que un casadín top con TP y prender y la peña doye.
The Trumbull Valley
Te
that
extrañará.
players might remember. So that's going to be exciting.
Interesting. Well, and anytime you expand something like Trumbull Valley, you just have to have a juggernaut of content, pun intended. Talk to me a little bit about what some of those things are that players can get in on here now in the expanded Trumbull Valley.
Yes, a ton of new content. In fact, we're doing something unique with the Trumbull Valley map. There are items there that you can only find on that map and nowhere else in the game, including 12 new hats and outfits, 10 new very cool weapons. We've got 6 new bases, 2 new achievements for achievement hunters. And on top of that, we are adding the game's 12th bounty pack. So that will be available from the bounty broker across all maps. And I have to say, they are some of the coolest weapons I have ever seen go into the game. I'm so excited for people to find them.
A juggernaut amount of content, and I don't care who sees that second pun of the day. That works out great. Well, let's talk
Me interesa más la troleada que se está marcando Ana que esto.
this entire franchise. And State of Decay being on Xbox Game Pass, how has that impacted the community? How has that impacted the game? Talk to me about those.
It's been fantastic.
Mamma
We
mia.
have an amazing community. We love them so much. In fact, one of the reasons we're doing Trumbull Valley as a map is because it was one of the most requested features from the community, which also makes it very exciting for us to be able to say, we did it, you get it. And we have a major milestone that we're celebrating. State of Decay 2 has 10 million lifetime players.
10 million
lifetime.
Hang your hat on that. I absolutely love that. That is
Really grateful.
Incredible, amazing news. Congratulations.
Cuenta todo aquel que haya arrancado alguna vez el juego, ¿no?
Well, speaking of Xbox Game Pass, let's give me
O
the
con
deets
solo
one more
comprarlo es
time when it comes
suficiente.
to the update.
So the update releases September 1st. It's a free update for all State of Decay 2 owners, and it's included with Xbox Game Pass.
No se lo cree ni usted, señora. Dice Gallego Ligero Rabioso.
Now we move From Trumble Valley to the Lost Valley of Korea, this mystical location trades zombies for ancient
¿Ya te has pillado el Humankind? No, no me lo he pillado aún. Ring. Ya sabes que yo siempre me espero a parche de día 1, semana 1, mes 1.
Pero si está en el Game Pass, payaso, ¿qué dices?
Sí, está en el Game Pass.
¿Y no tienes el Game Pass?
No, pero me lo voy a pillar. Porque también quiero jugar al Back 4 Blood en el Game Pass.
No pillarte los trolear, la verdad.
Ya. Es que...
Pues además el Humankind está bastante bien
ya,
en plan de bugs.
Mira, hay 3 juegos que espero como agua de mayo este año. Uno es el Humankind, que ya ha salido. Otro es el Back 4 Blood, que sale después de verano. Y el otro va a ser el Battlefield 2042, ¿vale? 2 de ellos están en el Game Pass. A lo mejor hoy anuncia que está el tercero en el Game Pass, que me extrañaría porque esta conferencia está siendo una puta mierda. Pero es que ya tengo motivos más que suficientes para pillármelo, te lo juro.
That changes based on your victories and plenty of dues to stab in blade-to-blade combat. If that weren't enough, you even get a fuzzy little pal to help you out. Between the epic fights and this small guy, there's clearly a lot going on here. So let's hear more from Point Blank Games about Stray Blade.
Hello everybody, I'm Leonard Kausch, game director at Point Blank Games, and today I will show you Stray Blade. Stray Blade is an action RPG where you play a rogue adventurer who is exploring the ancient valley of Akria with his companion, a witty wolf named Boji. Unveil the history of the Forgotten Valley, master the powers of the 3 Akrian metals to restore balance to this war-torn land.
That is the how, as well as the why.
Combat and exploration are the 2 key elements of our game. Let's dive into the combat first. Our combat system merges strategic anticipation of enemy attacks with split-second blade-to-blade reactions. It is the high noon of skill-based melee weapon combat. To achieve that, we put our hearts into creating fluid, well-readable animations and epic cinematic finishers. You can choose from multiple weapon categories that can be combined to fit your playstyle. Now, let's take a look at the exploration. Akria's colorful world ranges from overgrown city ruins to frozen caves and winding canyons. Together with your companion, explore the deepest corners of an ever-changing world bristling with adventure. Every discovery holds treasure. Find rare materials, recipes, weapons, lore pieces, and beautiful places. Change is part of your journey, where every victory impacts the world around you. When you die, time keeps moving forward. Enemies can't stay dead. New foes invade camps that you weakened, and when Boji revives you, only one thing is certain. The change you brought shapes what now awaits you. And of course, get ready for epic boss fights. We hope you enjoyed the first look at Stray Blade, which will be out next year.
Disfrutado,
and keep an eye on
disfrutado.
social media channels for more information.
Pues ahora, el año que viene no veremos las caras. Bueno.
Next up, one of the most unique games finally comes to Xbox.
Yeah, unique. As in, my evil twin murdered 4 of my husbands because they secretly are in love with me. Unique.
In case that didn't tip you off, we're talking about Crusader Kings 3, the medieval grand strategy and role-playing game that has you trying to defend your royal line from those that would
Jaja, chistes totalmente puestos en el guión. Me parto.
Y reacciones puestas en el guión, y todo está guionizado, y me sobran los 40, me sobran los 54 minutos de esta conferencia.
Not to mention bringing the grand strategy experience to my comfy living room couch.
We'll all be ruling from our throne room soon enough. Check out Crusader Kings 3 now, coming to Xbox consoles.
Paradox.
My son, we must never forget the crimes committed against us. Your father sought his glorious revenge and failed.
Micael, ¿has jugado a esto? No me suelen gustar mucho los juegos de Paradox. Jugué en su momento mucho al Europa Universalis 1 y 2. Probablemente más de 1000 horas entre los dos. Pero me cansan los juegos de Paradox. Bueno, y al Stellaris 300 horas o 400 tengo que tener seguro. Pero me cansan, me parecen complejos innecesariamente. Lo que no quiere decir que haya gente a la que le encante. Yo me cansé ya.
Real strategy requires cunning.
De esto sí que no vamos a tener charleta, ¿no? Digo yo. De esto ya me dirás tú, un juego que ya había salido en PC y...
Crusader Kings 3 is wild. You really haven't lived until you've made an 8-year-old the King of England.
Well, it's nice to have hobbies. We've all gotten into some weird stuff this past year.
Weird like diving into people's brains and exploring their mental universes projected into a psychedelic 60s wonderland kind of weird?
Exactly that kind of weird, which means I am so excited for Psychonauts to finally get a sequel.
Se está llevando unas notazas de la parra, ¿eh? Juste, no sé si has visto las notas del Psychonauts.
It really is indeed. Now, think about this. 2005,
no,
originally
he leído que hay gente a la que le ha gustado mucho, pero nada más.
Pues 90s para arriba.
Battlefield 2, Call of Duty 2, they were great games, for sure, but they were all big, beefy shooter games.
Meanwhile, Psychonauts had humor, whimsy, and surprisingly heartfelt moments. It was an oasis of color and humanity in an era when games were increasingly turning grimy, dark, and combative.
Not to mention having some deceptively deep character moments.
That's why the original is considered a cult classic.
It has been a long time coming, and it is finally here. Enjoy this long-awaited launch trailer for Psychonauts.
Well, this shouldn't take too long.
Aquí, por ejemplo, que no sé si lo harán, pero aquí una charla con Tim Schafer sería la polla.
Pues para mí una charla con Tim Schafer me come los cojones porque he escuchado 70 veces a Tim Schafer ya hablando de este juego.
Ya, pero me interesa más que el resto de charlas que hemos tenido, por ejemplo.
My first day on the job.
Get ready, Rasputin.
Did you forget everything I taught you about levitation, Rasputin?
I'm not supposed to check out equipment to interns.
You did what? Can't we just...
No. Quit picking on the new kid. We were all new once, in case you forgot.
I've got eyes on the target. And I've got eyes on me.
All I see is another unruly peasant.
Oh boy.
When men do misfires, turn the world on its side. Only one man can save us. Mind reader.
It wouldn't be the first time the Psychonauts underestimated Maligula's power.
Fire! Leave it to me.
Well, it's clear I could not be more excited for Psychonauts 2 because I gotta be honest, me and that original game, we got some beef that needs settling. If you know, you know. The meat circus level, it is infamous, it is brutal, it is difficult to say the least. It's the final level of the original game that came out, and I cannot believe I'm doing the math on this one. 16 years ago, Tim Schafer and Lizette
Pues mira, sí que
Montgomery. I
está
am definitely
Tim
dating
Schafer.
myself, but you all welcome from Double Fine Productions. Thank you so much for being here. Tim, can you believe it has been 16 years? I almost said 19 years.
Yeah, it feels like only yesterday, but it kind of was for Raz because the story picks up right where the first game left off. And even though it has been a lot of years, it's a game that matters a lot to us. We really love it here at Double Fine, and we know that a lot of fans, it meant a lot to them. And so we really want to be true to the spirit of the first game, which we were able to do because we brought back a lot of the same voice actors, and we also have a lot of people on the team here that worked on the first game, as well as bringing on a bunch of new people like Lisette.
Thank you. It was really important for us to carry the legacy forward, especially the cool style of Wonk that is very prevalent in the first game.
Style of Wonk. Just put it on a shirt. I'm in there for it. Let's roll it back a bit. Of course, this can be kind of a trippy idea if you're not familiar. Psychonauts, they still jump into people's minds.
Otra turra. No he vuelto a agafar. Coño, que esta por lo menos, a mí esto... Esta entrevista no me desagrada. O sea, me desagradan todas las entrevistas.
No lo vas a conseguir. No lo vas a conseguir.
Es que no voy a conseguir.
Abandona las armas. Defender esta turra. No se puede defender.
No. Yo no creo que deberían haber entrevistas en una conferencia de videojuegos. Creo que no debería haberlas. Pero ya que la vas a meter, por lo menos esta... Vale, pues escuchas a Tim Schafer y lo ves y tal. Muy bien. Pero no creo que debería. Creo que la conferencia ideal de videojuegos, lo que dice Xbox, este 3. Esto es un truño.
I loved it from the first game, certainly. Let's talk a little bit about how that kind of concept expresses itself in the game world. I mean, Psychonauts 2 has got it all over the place, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was really important for us.
Exacto, las entrevistas las pones en YouTube para quien quiera verla. Z-Dark. Exacto.
And the unique style as well. So we were really focused on how we could bring forward that style in Wonk and also bring in new levels and enemies.
Now, of course, it wouldn't be Psychonauts without new mental demons.
Al menos creo que sigue siendo mejor que la anterior de Koch Media, dice Tetris 7. A ver, la de Koch Media fue espectacular. Espectacular.
Well, I don't know if you get to slap anxiety in your face, but you definitely get to slap some panic attacks, and COVID definitely caused a lot of those. In addition to panic attacks, some of our old enemies have also come back. Our sensors are our favorites, and they're definitely here. And in addition to that, we also have our doubts and some new enemies. There's our lovely sensor. Also, some regrets, some flying regrets. There are a ranged enemy, and they definitely are challenging. Our doubts are our slow, sticky melee enemy. You're also seeing our enabler here. He energizes our whole combat troop. So we have a whole cast that you can battle and fight with.
Including the new bad mood.
Including the bad mood.
Which is...
It's an electric storm of feelings that you have to fight.
Now, for those who haven't played the original, available now on Xbox Game Pass, by the way, wink. Tim, why is Raz so good at rummaging through brains?
Raz is, he has some very special skills. He has two whole sets of skills, one being the acrobatic skills he learned growing up in the circus. He can balance on tightropes, jump on trampolines, swing on trapezes, and that helps him navigate and get around to all kinds of interesting places. But he also has this other side to his personality, which is that he's a powerful psychic. So he can levitate objects, he can use telekinesis and pyrokinesis. He has these powers which people might recognize from the first game, as well as 3 new powers for the second game. He has the ability to mentally connect thoughts together, and he can connect 2 thoughts and actually connect 2 thoughts together to solve puzzles and to navigate in this game. He has the power of time bubble, which is just change and slow down how things are moving by changing people's perception of time. And he also has the power of projection, which allows him to pull an archetype, a personality, out of his unconscious mind and bring it into the world that he's in, like a companion in battle.
26 minutos quedan.
But let's talk about the story for a second, because as the original Psychonauts, we saw Raz training to be part of an organization, and now perhaps he's part of a whole organization at this point. And are there other brain agents, other Psychonauts out there that maybe grew up in a completely different circus?
Yeah, we have a lot of new characters in this game.
We do. We have a lot of new characters in this game. As soon as Raz arrives on the headquarters, he immediately gets introduced to the interns. And the interns quickly tell him and show him how he fits into the organization.
The bottom.
They're right down at the bottom.
Yeah, so earn his way back to the top again. He's no longer the coolest kid in summer camp. And much to his chagrin, his entire family, his entire embarrassing circus clothes wearing family comes to visit him in front of all his new friends. And so the interns find out that he's the awkward middle child of a circus family. Each one of them has their own quirks and foibles, and some of them are even psychic. And so a lot of their story gets told in this game, including their backstory and how it relates to the foundation of the Psychonauts themselves.
Well, I like that. And of course, as you might know already, I'm sold. But you, of course, already knew that. When can myself and the rest of the world exact some beefy, meaty revenge?
You can get back to the beef and play Psychonauts 2 on August 25th on Xbox Game Pass and PC.
There it is. Tim from Double Fine, thank you so much. And you know what? Extend a huge congratulations to everyone at Double Fine on the launch of Psychonauts 2.
Thank you so much. We're very excited.
Thank you.
And you can catch more of Tim Schafer and ask him those burning questions about the newest game in the fan favorite franchise in our Xbox Play stream tomorrow. But first, we're going from cleaning out mental cobwebs to cleaning up alien planets in this supremely satisfying 4K 60 trailer for The Gunk.
A ver.
I don't like this weather. I'm pretty sure the ship's insurance won't cover alien storm damage. You have to be careful out there.
The gunk's eating everything here. This planet is literally a paradise when the gunk's gone.
Revisa mi canal, creo que Just ha muerto, ¿no?
Está guapo, ¿eh?
Mira, ¿lo ves? Ahí está. Juego en desarrollo. ¡Pum!
We have talked about so many incredible games today, and it's hard to pick a favorite, but let me just say, it is so cool that State of Decay 2 is expanding Trumbull Valley. Come on! And hey, you know what? Great job on that Flight Sim interview.
Oh, thank you. I mean, talking to Jorg is always a blast, and Flight Sim is such a special game to me because, I mean, it's literally letting me travel the world. But I was staring daggers of jealousy watching you talk to Tim and Lizette. Over at
Well, I will say this, I understand, but you got to play Psychonauts 2 already, so I don't even want to.
Sí, es como si estuviera intentando llegar, ¿sabes? A los 10 minutos para poder monetizar el vídeo, pues estuviera intentando llegar a los 90 minutos.
I will say this as well, I am excited to see even more of Psychonauts 2 on our Xbox Plays streams.
Yes, don't forget, Xbox Plays will recap all the week's news throughout the week at twitch.tv/Xbox.
No se acaba, Wither.
So make sure to check that out. Before Kate and I let Playground Games take the wheel, let me just say that it has been our distinct pleasure to chat games and nerd out with everyone today.
Oh, it's hands down the best part of the job, for sure.
But we're far from done here.
Too true. Now, in June, Playground Games announced that Forza Horizon 5, the highly anticipated follow-up to 2018's breakout hit open-world driving game Forza Horizon 4, arrives on November 9th on Xbox consoles, Xbox Game Pass for console, PC, and cloud, and of course, Steam.
And if you're watching our Xbox YouTube channel, switch over to our Xbox Twitch channel to see all this new exclusive content.
And that is twitch.tv/Xbox for the full vroom vroom experience. And if you're already watching on Twitch or one of the Forza channels, stay right where you are.
Without further ado, let's dive in, starting with the new custom Forza Horizon 5 controller, which is available for pre-order today, so players can have it in hand by November 9th when the standard edition of the game launches.
Wow, voy a poder ver un mando de Forza. Joder, qué bien.
Dios. ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué cosa más garrula? Bueno. Podría ser del Forza o podría ser del Dance Dance Revolution, ¿sabéis, gente? El del McDonald's se come a este. Pan Nintendo.
Charlie here, and I'm at Playground Games with Forza Horizon creative director Mike Brown and Forza Horizon art director Don Arcetta. Hello, everybody.
Hey everyone. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
How cool is this?
That is stunning. Look at that. Well, we obviously just saw a really cool video about it, and I'll be the first to say there is an amazing influence of Mexican car culture and music literally splayed right across the front. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. It just feels like it's a part of the Horizon Festival, like it's just dropped out of the game into your lap.
Absolutely.
Absolutely love it.
And there's so much we do want to show the fans, and it's been quite difficult to decide where to start. So can you maybe tell us a bit more about the game, Mike?
Sure, yeah. So Forza Horizon 5 is bringing the Horizon Festival's unique brand of fun and freedom to beautiful and vibrant Mexico. Players are going to set out across the largest, most diverse open world we've ever built in hundreds of the world's most beautiful and exciting cars.
Yeah, and people think that Mexico is just a desert or a beach, but there's so much more to it, isn't there?
That's right. Even though it does have pretty awesome beaches and a number of amazing deserts, it also has vast canyons, hidden
Phil,
temples.
dijiste que nos querías. ¿Por qué nos haces esto? Dice Iván
a towering snow-capped volcano, the highest point we've ever had in Horizon.
So you've talked about how Forza Horizon 5 showcases powerful, all-new graphical features, but what more can you tell us about that?
So yeah, our Mexican HDR sky captures really illuminate the world to the point.
Podríamos haber aprovechado la tarde, gente. Pero mira.
Thanks to the Xbox Series X and S, ray tracing is utilized in Forza Vista to really make our cars look more true to real life. You'll encounter the smallest of details as you travel throughout the world, all rendered in striking realism.
Oh, that's such an exciting overview. I cannot wait.
Un yankee contándome lo que es México, lo que faltaba, dice Antonio.
Mike, what exactly is that?
Yeah, that's right. We are about to reveal the cover of Forza Horizon
3-0 Casadín, no está mal para empezar. ¿Cómo vas, Ana?
AMG 1 and the
3-0 que tienes enfrente.
Bronco Badlands. Should we take a look?
Let's do it, yeah.
¡Mira, graficador! ¡Graficador! ¡Graficador! ¡Cómo me gustan los graficadas!
Qué pereza me da.
Calla. Deja que abren los píxeles. ¿Ya está? No puede ser.
Now, those are two very different ways to explore Mexico. So what I want to know is why those two cars were chosen and what players can expect when they get behind the wheel.
Yeah, so those differences are exactly why we chose them. The Mercedes-AMG 1 marks the first time a car features Formula One hybrid technology almost one-to-one from track to the street. And with the 2021 Ford Bronco Badlands, that's prime for rugged off-roading across Mexico's vast terrain.
And I'm certain people can't wait to see more of what these cars can do in the game, so I don't
vas
think
contra
we
Víctor,
can
Ana.
wait any longer. Mike, can you tell us about what we're about to see next?
Yes, so in a few moments' time, we'll be kicking off a Forza Horizon 5 Let's Go stream, and everybody should check that out for a big deep dive into loads of new content and features from Forza Horizon 5. But before that, we have 8 minutes of brand new gameplay where we're going to see both the Mercedes AMG 1 and the 2021 Ford Bronco Badlands.
Bronco.
And in
Me
typical
gusta más
Horizon
cañonero.
fashion, we are going to see active volcanoes, cars jumping out of cargo planes, and a race under beautiful Mexican skies all the way to the Horizon Festival.
¡Hey, cañonero!
Should we check
¡Hey!
it out?
I think we should.
¿Cómo se llama el juego tipo Fall Guys de autos que se mostró en Full HP la semana pasada? Puedes mirar el nombre en el canal de YouTube, puedes ir ahí y verlo.
¿Ese cuál es? ¿El Riders Republic?
No, el Broom. El que vimos de coches súper realista ayer era el Broom. Bueno, ayer, la semana pasada. V-R-O-O-M y algunas exclamaciones al final. ¡Cañonero! ¡Vamos! Dios.
traffic ahead. Watch out for that.
Ahí te va. Y se mete en un circuito, ¿no? Claro. Y se coloca líder. Ahí te va.
Drop zone approaching. Lovely day for a drive.
Se flipan, como se flipan.
So now we see the 2020 Corvette Stingray tearing up the asphalt towards a dust storm in the Mexican farmland.
Yeah.
Outtrack the storm. No sigue adelante. Keep going.
Picazos.
Okay, there's no other way around. We've got to go through it.
¿Ahora qué? Buah.
No hay coche en el Forza Horizon que se maneje así. Vamos, ya ha salido ya 70 veces.
¿Cómo?
Okay, on my mark. 5, 4. 4 now, that's fine. This could get a little rough.
Hostia, Porsche 911.
Next up is the Porsche 911 Desert Flyer, crashing through the dense jungle tree canopy.
Flamingos.
¿Te imaginas pillarte un Porsche 911 para ir por la puta selva? GL.
Yo es lo que hice ayer.
Yo ayer me fui con el Ferrari a un estercolero. Qué planita está la carretera de la selva, tú. Alrededor todo selva, pero la carretera está planita, ¿eh? Está mejor esa carretera que una calle en mi pueblo. LOL. ¡Qué maravilla! ¿Pero cuántos coches caben en ese avión?
Sí.
LOL, McLaren. Let's fucking go.
What do you say? First to the festival wins? Vámonos.
And on the final leg, we have the stunning Mercedes AMG 1.
Ah, no, Mercedes AMG 1.
Across Mexico's sun-baked rocky coast.
Parece un McLaren, ¿eh?
O sea, lo que está guapo cuando juegas al Forza Horizon 4 por primera vez, no sé si has jugado.
No soy mucho de juego de
Pues está bastante guapo porque tú te pones el juego y tal, lo inicias y de repente te empieza a contar su vida, ¿sabes? Es en plan, no sé qué, no sé cuánto, algo súper épico con escenas y tal, y te hace el típico traveling súper épico, ¿sabes? En plan película, tráiler de tal, y enseguida estás manejando el coche. Y ese cambio a la intro que te hacen y estás enseguida manejando el coche está guapísimo. ¿Sí? Está bastante guapo. Sí. Luego pues te pones a conducir y giras un poquito a la derecha y el coche hace 70 tirabuzones hacia la derecha, pero por lo demás bastante bien.
A ver, este tráiler o tráiler gameplay, como lo queréis llamar, es la viva imagen de fliparse, de vender la moto.
A ver, es que el juego se ve así, ¿eh?
Sí.
O sea, el Forza Horizon 4 es así, pero vamos.
Bastante épico. No lo voy a negar. Ya está. ¿O no? ¿Es posible que ya esté? ¿Es posible que ya esté, de repente? ¿No? ¿Esta no es la música del principio? Sí, ahora van a hacer un stream de... Ahora van a hacer un stream de Forza Horizon 5. Pues ya estaría. Mira, nos hemos ahorrado 8 minutos. Los últimos 8 minutos del evento, que han sido los de Forza Horizon, han sido lo único que ha molado.
Un poco triste, la verdad.
Pues una puta mierda, ¿no? Acabamos de contemplar. Yo siento que he perdido la tarde. Siento que estas cosas,
sí.
Estas cosas, si estuviera interesadas en ellas, podría haberlas buscado en YouTube.
Sí. Es una puta mierda, es un buen resumen. Y como tal, me voy a marchar. Mucha suerte. Yo ni lo subiría.
No me lo voy a subir, ya que hemos hecho la faena, que quede en el currículum, ¿no?
Vale.
Pero que...
Pues adelante.
La postconferencia es eso, gente. La conferencia consiste en desearle mucha suerte a Ana con su casadín. Y...
Una puta mierda.
Y mañana nos vemos cuando termina Full HP, 2 horas después, a las 20:00 hora española, comienza la ceremonia de apertura de la Gamescom 2021 con Geoff Keighley, pero media hora antes hay un pre-show, así que vamos a conectar al pre-show, pero casi como los últimos pre-show, para tenerlo de fondo mientras charlamos de lo que podemos esperar.
Sí,
¿okay?
Sí.
No es que vayamos a cubrir el pre-show, es para tenerlo de fondo viendo qué cositas muestran.
Eso es.
¿Vale?
Ahora me piro, gente.
Venga,
hasta luego,
gente.
Hasta luego, Miguel, un besito. Hasta luego, chao.
Hasta luego, chicos.